Hi, everybody. Jorn Kaiser here. Just wanted to reach out to you, reach out to my clients, reach out to the community. And it's a crazy world right now. You know, we've got this new normal going on, and there's just situations that we're all going to have to work through. But if you're a taxpayer right now, the federal government has provided relief for a lot of us, and it's relief through this thing called the CARES Act. And I really wanted to get this information out there so that people had a general understanding of what's going on with it. I've got my friend Kyle Long here. He's a CPA and a financial planner, and he's got a handle on this situation. And so I would just want him to briefly give and provide this information to my clients in the community. So Kyle, welcome. Just what's
Thanks,
going
Sean.
on with the CARES Act?
Yeah. So many people have seen the big headlines out there, right? Over $2 trillion stimulus package that the government has just passed, and there's all sorts of provisions in here. There's benefits for small businesses and loans, and there's benefits for large businesses, individuals, families, and so we're really just going to touch base on two things. One is the stimulus checks that people may or may not get. And the second is there's no requirement for a required minimum distribution for 2020, also known as an RMD. So the first one is that stimulus check. So and that's subject to different limitations on adjusted gross income that's been made. So the IRS determines your income level based on your most recently filed return during the time they figure out what the checks should be. So if you haven't filed your 2019 return yet, of course many know the deadline's been extended till July 15th now, then the IRS is going to use your 2018 income amounts. Now, if you have filed your 2019 return earlier, there's a good chance that the IRS will use those income amounts. So one example to look at that is so the phase out is if you make up to $150,000 or less, as a married couple filing jointly, you could get up to $2,400. Now, if you make between 150,000 and 198,000 of adjusted gross income, there's a phase out, so you may not be able to get that full amount. Dollar made over 198,000, you won't get any of the stimulus check. For individuals, you'll get $1,200 if you made $75,000 in AGI or less. And again, there's a phase out for individuals between $75,000 and $99,000. So let's use an example here. Let's say that Paul and Denise are toilet paper distributors. They're married, they work together, they're filing jointly, and in 2019 they had $130,000 of adjusted gross income. Well, that means that they're going to get the full amount, the $2,400, in the next month or so when the IRS distributes those checks. Now, in 2020, let's just say, toilet paper sales are through the roof. They're going to make $250,000. Just because they exceeded that amount for 2020, they'll actually still get the full amount. They won't have to pay it back. Conversely, let's say that Bill and Heidi are a flight attendant and a co-pilot, and let's say they made $215,000 in 2019. Because they were over those income amounts, they won't get any of that stimulus check right now, even though they may have been laid off or furloughed. So 2020 may not be a great year for them. So let's say they make $100,000 in 2020. They're not going to see any of that stimulus check until they file their 2020 return, and there will be a true up upon once they do that, and they could then get the credit for the amount they should have gotten. So it's not a perfect package. There's going to be some people that really need it, that just because they had a great year in 2019, they could be struggling today, and they're not going to be able to see that amount until they file their 2020 taxes. So that's how the stimulus checks works. Now, the waiver of the required minimum distribution is a very great, unique planning opportunity. For many people, you may not want to take your any IRA distributions this year. It's not have to pay the tax to keep your income levels lower. And the reason the government did that is because as of December 31st, 2019, when RMDs were calculated, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was around $28,000. And and right now it's much lower. So your calculation is on an amount, on a value that may not be there anymore for many people. So, and for those that are in a lower tax bracket, you might want to take a lot of distributions out of your IRA, fill up those tax bracket, the 10, the 12, the 22%, and take that money. You could roll it over, or I'm sorry, convert to a Roth IRA, and that money could grow without having any R&D requirement. So there's some great planning opportunities for individuals, for families right now. Even if you're on the line of those income limits for your stimulus check, there's some great planning opportunities to reduce your adjusted gross income to maybe get you in a different income level to if you're close. So again, a lot of planning opportunities, strategies, and things for people to be considering right now, given this unprecedented $2+ trillion stimulus that the government has passed. One thing that's interesting about this too is there's no revenue offsets. So there's a good chance we'll have to pay for this some way down the road. There's a chance, again, we're just making assumptions here, but there's a good chance our tax rates are going to go up in the future, making that Roth conversion even more valuable now. And we do know that in 2025, that the current tax rates are going to sunset and the previous rates will come back into effect. So, that's a lot of information, but good things for people to be thinking about right now.
Thanks, Kyle. I really appreciate it. If you have any more questions about the CARES Act, because Kyle can't cover it all, feel free to reach out to Kyle. But I just want to encourage everybody that we're going to get through this. The United States of America is the greatest country on the planet, no question about it. We've seen some crazy stuff in our lives, and we've gotten through it. We're going to get through this. And I also want to quick shout out to the small business owners. Hang in there, guys, and let's continue to support these small business owners, especially the hairstylist. I'll end up maybe with a man bun before this whole thing's over, but don't forget about your hairstylist. We got to keep those folks in business. So, Kyle, your information is going to show up at the end here, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So if anybody has any questions, any more questions that Kyle didn't answer, just feel free to reach out to him. So anyway, thanks for listening in. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Bye-bye.